Chairman Shanks. As stated in the website CFM56F108, an F108 jet engine produces 22,000 pounds of thrust. That is the same weight of an African bull elephant. Let me first start off by telling you the history of the jet engine. The first jet engine was invented by Dr. Hans van O'Hane and Sir Frank Whittle in the late 1930s. However, the F108 was manufactured in the 1970s. An F108 jet engine may seem difficult to understand, but by looking at the fuel, oil, ignition, and air systems separately, you'll be able to better understand the way it works. The first system I want to talk about is the fuel system. The fuel system supplies fuel for combustion. In this system, you have some components. You have your main engine control, variable bleed valves, variable stator vanes, and your fuel pump. The main engine control regulates and meters fuel and also schedules your variable bleed valves and your variable stator vane positioning. The F108 is equipped with 21 variable bleed valves. They are located right before your core engine, and these bleed valves regulate combustion air by bleeding off any excess air. Your variable stator vanes are located in your first, second, and third stages of your core, and these regulate the core engine power setting by moving back and forth and allowing the air to either flow to the engine unobstructed or it slows the air down. The last component in the fuel system is your pump. The fuel pump, as stated in the F108 technical manual, pumps the fuel at 174 to 870 psi. The 174 psi is used for combustion, and the 870 psi is used to actuate your variable stator vanes and your variable bleed valves. Now that we talked about the fuel system, let's talk about how the engine stays cool and lubricated. The oil system lubricates and cools the engine. In this system, you have your oil pump, you have two filters, your oil cooler, and your bearings. Your oil pump pumps the oil to cool engine bearings and lubricate them. The F108 has two filters, which you can pass around and look at. Two filters are located side by side, and these filters filter out any contaminants from the bearings or the pump. On the bottom of these filters are two poppets, they're red poppets, and when they pop out, the filter lets you know that it needs to be changed. The last thing is the bearings. The F108 has 5 bearings. You have 2 for your fan, 2 for your core, compressor, and 1 for your high pressure turbine. We went over the fuel and oil system. Let's now talk about the ignition system. The ignition system ignites the fuel. It's a very simple system. There are 2 components. You have 2 exciters and 2 igniters. I have an igniter you can pass around and take a look at. The 2 exciters take 108 to 122 volts AC and store it and turn it into about 10 joules of electricity. These 10 joules of electricity are then discharged through those igniters in your combustion chamber and ignite the fuel and air mixture. Now that we have an understanding of the fuel, oil, and ignition system, we can now talk about the air system and how it is used in the engine. The 22,000 pounds of thrust is produced by the air system. In the F108, it has a 1-stage fan, which produces 80% of your thrust, a 3-stage fan booster, which aids in turning the fan. It also has a 9-stage compressor that starts out large and gets smaller. It compresses the air right before it goes in the combustion chamber to be ignited. After it goes to the combustion chamber, it hits the high pressure turbine. The high pressure turbine slows down the air after combustion to where it finally hits the turbine. The F108 has a 4-stage low pressure turbine, and the turbine is used to cool the air for thrust. Now that we've talked about the fuel, oil, ignition, and air system, I hope you have a better understanding of how jet engines work. In a website of research titled How Jet Engines Work, they came up with a very clever way of remembering how engines work. Just remember, suck, squeeze, bang, blow. Engine sucks in the air, squeezes it, ignites the fuel-air mixture, creating a bang, and then blows it out, producing thrust.